On paper, your rental property looks great. The price is reasonable, the rent estimates check out, you're ready to jump in, start renting your units, and start building wealth. But here's what most people don't realize. Some properties come with hidden issues that can quietly wreck your cash flow. These aren't always things that you'll find during a quick walkthrough, and sometimes they aren't even flagged in an inspection. But I've seen them drain budgets, create constant headaches, and turn what should have been a smart investment into a financial mistake. In this video, I'll walk you through 12 specific property problems that can quietly turn your rental into a money pit. And I'll explain why each one matters based on what I've learned from my 14 years in the business. Let's start with location, because no amount of remodeling or clever financing can fix a bad one. High crime areas, industrial zones, properties next to junkyards or halfway houses, these types of locations make it much harder to attract and retain good tenants. Even if you do find tenants, turnover tends to be much higher. You might also find yourself dealing with vandalism, property damage, or safety concerns that lead to higher insurance premiums. I've also seen properties in declining neighborhoods where businesses are moving out, houses are sitting boarded up, and there's a general sense of disinvestment. These tend to attract tenants who are either desperate or transient, and neither one is good for your bottom line. It's critical to look beyond the house and understand what's happening on the street, in the neighborhood, and in the surrounding area. Long-term viability matters more than short-term rent potential. Number 2, problematic lots. The lot your property sits on can create serious problems, especially if you don't know what to look for. A low-lying lot with poor grading can lead to water pooling around the foundation, which increases the risk of moisture intrusion, mold, and basement flooding. A hilly lot often looks charming but may require retaining walls, special drainage systems, or grading work just to make the land usable or safe. That's added cost you didn't plan for. I've also seen investors get stuck with oversized lots. And while that might sound like a plus, in reality, it means more landscaping, snow removal, and potential liability if someone slips or gets hurt on your property. Finally, proximity to railroad tracks or major highways can hurt your tenant pool due to constant noise and vibration. Renters don't want to live next to that. You might get applications, but they'll often come from people with fewer options, and again, that increases your management headaches. Number 3, flood zones. Properties located in flood zones are a common trap for new investors who don't do their homework. If a lender sees that the property is in a FEMA-designated flood zone, they're going to require flood insurance. No exceptions. And the cost isn't small. I've seen premiums that are 3 to 4 times higher than standard property insurance. Sometimes it's high enough to wipe out all of your projected cash flow. Always check FEMA flood zone maps and get an actual insurance quote before you move forward. Don't just ask your agent if flood insurance is required, ask them how much it's going to cost. If they don't know, reach out to an insurance broker and get quotes before you go under contract. Number 4, too many trees close to the building. Trees can be beautiful, but too many, too close to the structure can cause serious and expensive issues. Large roots can push against foundations, crack walkways, and infiltrate underground sewer lines. I've seen and dealt with this firsthand, and trust me, it's not cheap to fix. During storms, overhanging limbs can fall and damage roofs, gutters, or power lines. And even if nothing breaks, the annual leaf cleanup adds recurring maintenance costs, especially if you're in a heavily wooded area. It's worth factoring in this cost of annual trimming, cleanup, and potential roof-related repairs when evaluating a property that's surrounded by mature trees. Number 5, problematic amenities. Certain property features might seem like bonuses, but they often carry hidden costs and liabilities. For example, swimming pools can be attractive, but they require regular maintenance, raise your insurance premiums, and create a major liability risk if someone gets hurt. Trampolines are another red flag. Some insurers won't even cover a property if one is present. Then there are appliances like dishwashers and garbage disposals, which increase tenant convenience, but also add more things that can break. And be cautious with laundries on upper floors. If a washing machine leaks or backs up, the damage won't be limited to the unit. It can affect the units below. And those repairs get expensive quickly. So before you buy, think carefully about whether the nice-to-have amenities are worth the long-term cost. Number 6, complex architectural design. A complex roof line or building shape may look interesting, but it usually means higher repair and replacement costs down the road. More angles in a roof means more valleys, more flashing, and more places where water can intrude. Roofers will charge more for that kind of work because it's harder and takes longer. The same goes for siding. Unusual shapes or cuts require custom work and more material waste. From a purely financial standpoint, a simple rectangular building with a basic gable roof is easier to maintain, cheaper to repair, and often is more efficient to insulate and weatherproof. When you're investing, function should beat form every time. Number 7, no basement or crawl space. Homes built on slab foundations come with limitations most investors don't think about. If you ever need to repair or replace plumbing, HVAC lines, or electrical runs that are under the slab, the work becomes far more invasive and expensive. You'll need to break through concrete just to access those systems. That's not something your average handyman can do. Basements and crawl spaces, while not perfect, offer flexibility that can save you a lot of time and money in the long run. Number 8, septic tanks and wells. If the property isn't connected to public water and sewer, then you, as the owner, are responsible for maintaining the septic tank and well. That means scheduling inspections, pumping the tank, replacing the well pump if it fails, and ensuring the water remains clean and safe. A failing septic system can cost tens of thousands of dollars to replace. And if tenants complain about water pressure or water quality, you have to fix it. These systems aren't inherently bad, but they do require more attention, more maintenance, and more reserves. Many investors, myself included, prefer public utilities simply because they shift those responsibilities off your plate. Number 9, off-street parking. Off-street parking is usually a plus, but it also creates maintenance obligations that many investors overlook. If you have a paved driveway, you'll eventually need to seal it, repair cracks, and possibly repave. In colder climates, you're also responsible for snow removal, either by hiring someone or buying the equipment to do it yourself. And if your driveway doubles as a shared space for multiple units, be ready to deal with disputes over parking spots, plowing delays, and blocked access. It's a good amenity to offer, but it comes at a cost. Number 10, too many stairs. Buildings with multiple flights of stairs may not seem like a big deal until you try to rent them. If your unit is on the 3rd or 4th floor, you're automatically excluding elderly renters, people with disabilities, or anyone with small kids. Stairs also make move-ins and move-outs much more difficult, increase wear on the flooring, walls, and handrails, and can lead to injuries. In general, a side-by-side duplex is easier to rent and manage than an up-and-down one. And for multi-unit buildings, fewer stairs almost always means broader tenant appeal. Number 11, hazards on the property. Some properties come with legacy hazards that can trigger huge expenses down the road. I'm talking about lead pipes, asbestos insulation, or underground oil tanks that were never removed or decommissioned. These things can make it harder to get insurance, harder to refinance, and harder to sell. Worse, in many jurisdictions, you're responsible for cleanup or remediation if those materials pose a safety risk. Always ask during due diligence if these materials are present, and factor in any potential abatement costs if they are. Number 12, bad layout. Finally, one of the most common and overlooked deal killers is simply a bad layout. A poorly designed floor plan can make even a large unit feel cramped, awkward, or unlivable. I've seen 3-bedroom units with all the bedrooms jammed together, no closet space, and a bathroom that can only be accessed through one of those bedrooms. Renters notice, and once they move in, they usually don't stay long. Layout isn't easy to change, so get this right before you close. Every one of these issues can impact the profitability of your rental property, and many of them don't show up on the spreadsheet. So don't just run the numbers. Walk the lot, ask the hard questions, get insurance quotes, and try to think several years ahead. The difference between a good deal and a bad one often comes down to the physical characteristics of the property itself. If you learn to spot these problems early, you'll save yourself time, money, and stress, and put yourself in a much better position to succeed. And by the way, if you want to learn how one stupid trick allows investors to buy properties for pennies on the dollar, check out this video next. I'll show you how I applied in my investing strategy and how it even allowed me to buy a property for just $1,000. Just tap or click the screen, and I'll see you there.